Ready when you are.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
This is Rafael Rivera.
I'm Nick Snow.
And we're here to talk about American Horror Story Apocalypse Episode 5.
Halfway through.
Boy Wonder. That's an unusual one. I thought of Batman right away, of course.
Well, he is a wonder, isn't he?
He was a
He is
wonder.
a wonder.
Absolutely. Makes you wonder,
He's got quite a few people wondering, that's for sure.
I'm gonna still think he's Antichrist, son of Satan. He's not a warlock. That's my theory. And all right, well, let's just start. Let's start with Cordelia's dream. That's what it starts with the sequence. So we're still 3 years before they showing up at the Outpost 3. So this is still backstory on how Langdon got to where he is now. And so Cordelia's in a dreamscape. She sees that her school has been destroyed. It's in soot. And she looks around and it's like a Night of the Living Dead.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit, which is fitting because we know he's all about his throwback callbacks to some classic movies. And so that's just another one, which I love.
It was cool. She puts her hand up and couldn't stop them, and she looked over. It looked like what was like a gallows or the shell of the school, and it looked like what's supposed to be Langdon, right? Or another Meatloaf appearance. Meatloaf just has to get in there. Or was it Ozzy Osbourne?
Ooh. I like that.
Yeah.
I prefer Sharon, but Ozzy's great too. Ozzy's great too. Yeah, so we kind of got a little bit of a gruesome zombie scene in there. Maybe what's to come later on, maybe, who knows? Yeah,
because she woke up, it was like a foreshadowing, or is this really going to happen?
Right. So she said that she kind of had a little bit of a vision. And I think zombies have kind of been a popular theory to pop up somewhere along the way, so we'll see.
And this is not the first time we've seen zombies. You know, in Coven they had zombies, correct? With Madame Marie Laveau.
Right. Yeah, a little bit. Not quite your traditional zombie as these were, but yeah, same deal.
Yeah, absolutely. So she wakes up. Oh, my notes. So she wakes up and she gets to see Mallory. She gets to see not Mallory. She gets to see Madison.
Right.
And Queenie, and they have this big hug. And I thought it was funny how Madison's like, "Oh, don't hug me."
She slipped into that character so effortlessly. It's amazing. I love it.
But so it gets good. So she wakes up and she stands up and she says that yes, we're gonna pretty much announces that we'll allow Langdon to do the test of the 7 wonders. But it has to be on the blood moon, which I thought was very interesting. I guess a lot of things happen on the blood moon. It's kind of like a throwback to Roanoke, which a lot of incidences happen on the blood moon.
Yep.
But they weren't always good things, though. Usually we're kind of associated with really bad things.
Right. Yeah.
So
her decision is not necessarily well received by everyone, though.
No, Myrtle has a fit. She just pitches a fit. She all the kinks in her orange hair.
And even some of the warlocks are like, wait, what? Seriously? You're letting him do this?
They were in disbelief, but it's like these guys are like these young little frat boys are just super thirsty and they need to calm down. They need to relax. Okay. which takes us going back. They depart and they go back to the school, and that's where Myrtle has her little fit. Speaking of little boys, she said this was just a fable created by impotent men for flaccid little boys, and I was just like, what is wrong? Myrtle, tell us how you feel.
Which kind of goes back to our question last week: is this so-called prophecy or whatever of the Alpha? Do the witches know about it? And it seems like they do.
And answered our question.
But they just necessarily don't. I don't know if they don't believe it or if they don't want to believe it or.
Oh no, it sounded like Myrtle don't want to believe it.
Yeah.
She said it was a fable or a fairy tale.
But do you think deep down that they think, oh man, this actually could happen? Or
crap. Oh crap.
Right. And so it's just kind of they're fearful of it, but they're just like, that can't happen, right? Question mark.
I think that is brought into question because of the fact that he brought Queenie back and Madison. I think that makes them kind of like, this can't be real, and I think think that's where the real fear and the apprehension lies, and they probably always associate it as a fable, just to kind of entertain the men.
Right.
And they never had proof until now, so I think they're pissing in their panties.
Well, if they were fearful then, they get a lot more fearful a little bit later on in the episode.
Yeah, wait till he gets the whole Mac makeup. So it's interesting. So yeah, Myrtle tries to talk her out of letting Langdon do the test of the 7 wonders. She tries to convince her that we don't need that. Just because he has the powers of the Supreme, that it doesn't mean that he is fit to be the Supreme. And kind of a nod back to Fiona Good, that she was powerful, but she wasn't fit to be Supreme, which is an old argument that they had in Coven. And then she said it could be Mallory. She actually pitched Mallory, and she goes, I was walking with them the other day, and she performed a miracle, and it was a deer that looked like it was injured with a broken leg, and Mallory was in her, by the way, she looked really cute with her little diadem and her little outfit, like she just came from Coachella. She just came from Coachella. Hanging out
The
with
flower crowns and all that, yeah.
Hanging out with Lana Del Rey.
It was a good look. It was a good look for her.
It works for her. It totally works for her. But it's almost like a little nugget of information, like what's to come. Like maybe she is going to be the Supreme, you know.
Right.
But she heals this deer, but it wasn't just a repair. It was like going backwards and actually making it look like it never happened. A total
right.
heal.
Yeah, it was a total regeneration of
Yeah, the tissue and everything. Unlike what happened in Coven with other things, like when Madison came back, she still had the slit in her throat.
Right.
When they put together Peter Evans' character, they put different body parts.
Oh yeah,
pretty
he was like a
rough.
Frankenstein. Yeah.
Which kind of messed things up a little bit, but made him kind of hot in a way.
Somebody could be into that out there somewhere, I guess.
Well, I always say Madison was, or he was into her. So yeah, and then Cordelia sticks to her guns with her decision, and she shows that she actually has a wound. She's actually dying. It looks like something like a ulcerating cancer on her side. I did not see that coming.
No, that was pretty shocking. I don't with Fiona, I don't know if we ever saw anything quite as grotesque as that necessarily.
I think she mentioned it by having the cancer.
Right.
She had cancer eating away at her, and she only had like a year left or something.
Yeah, so I always kind of thought it was just more, I guess, like internal. It was just kind of like sucking the life out of you. But
no, this was like a physical bruising, like she's getting knocked down, you know.
Which I have a question about that later on. But when we get there,
okay.
When we get there.
Sounds like maybe another theory coming up.
Maybe.
Oh, here comes my favorite part. So we get an introduction of Coco. Mallory comes in to remind her, your 2 o'clock's here. Next scene was Coco and her dad, which I think was awesome.
Oh my god, hilarious.
So we find out that Coco is brought into the school by her dad, and she does not look like she wants to be there. And I thought her ego was too big, and it was more of disappointment, like she didn't need to be there, like she didn't deserve to be there. And when she was asked to give an example of what some of her powers were, she said basically she saved her brother from choking on something that was gluten, I mean an allergy, and basically she's a gluten detector.
So she's being used by all these vapid housewives of Los Angeles.
Just to help them with their last 10-pound push.
Yeah. So-and-so told me this was gluten-free, but I don't believe it. And so she takes it and she does her gluten detection, and it's
her eyes roll back.
It's like she has to conjure up some kind of something.
Like, was she doing that for show, or was that really happening?
I don't know. I think she's really tapping into her powers.
The struggle's real.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny because you think she's got this huge ego, but then she's so self-conscious about her so-called gluten detection power. So it was great for her to, I mean...
That was hysterical.
That was brilliant.
It's just a flip on the whole play because she's such a bitch in the beginning.
Right.
And to find out that she's a humble person, it's this 180. It's almost like poetic justice, but it was hysterical. And so Cordelia was being ingratiating, and she says, it's not that you're just a gluten detector. Don't dismiss that as like, your powers are growing. Sounds like to me you have the power of sensing danger. And that could be why she was paired with Mallory, to help protect her in the long run.
that's a good point. Okay.
Yeah,
That is a good point.
That's
Yeah.
just an observation there. So I thought that was very interesting. She gets introduced to Mallory, and it was like a nice little warm moment. I love this. Mallory doesn't have much dialogue, but I like what she's projecting while she's on scene during these flashbacks. She seems like a very warm, genuine person that you would definitely hang out with at Coachella.
You definitely would.
It's like, oh, Lana Del Rey, let's go.
Yes, if you were, tripping on certain substances.
I was going to say,
you would trust her to take care of you.
Yes,
exactly.
if you're peaking. That's not
Exactly.
And then let's go back. We go back to the Warlock's blessing ceremony, which I thought was very interesting.
Yes.
That whole blue ring of fire. They brought salt and water from the ocean and a little bit of blood from the Chancellor. And you notice that they had their little medallions on. I guess each one of them had one, except for the Chancellor had 4 medallions on his chest. It was like a display of his authority. But not according to Myrtle. Impotent little man. So they do this cool ceremony. All the boys from Glee are around him, and this blue ring of fire comes up. And then, interesting that once the ceremony was conducted, like this big rush of wind comes in and blows all the candles out. So I don't know if that was part of the ceremony or if that was Langdon's, like, oh, here we go, the blessing, because they kept saying good.
Yeah.
He kept saying good and well and protection, and he's probably just like, I don't need this crap.
Yeah, could have been maybe just like kind of fueling up his spirit a little bit and just
soaking it all in, living his best life.
So he's trying.
So the funny thing is so Henry Jackson, Cheyenne, is watching him the whole time, and he's surrounded by everyone, and Langdon kind of just glances over, and Meatloaf face comes out, and Cheyenne is a little shocked and a little riddled by it, and he runs away to pack his overnight bag and get the hell out of there.
Yeah, well, I think that just kind of confirmed all of his kind of reservations about this Langdon fellow coming in. And he was the one from the start, whether jealousy, whatever the case may have been, that was fueling that. He definitely was the one that was like, hey guys, maybe we shouldn't buy into this so quickly.
There's a lot of apprehension there, a lot of apprehension. So, so in comes Behold, this is one of my favorite scenes. In comes Behold Chablis and Billy Porter's character, and pretty much called him out, just like, I see you, so this is why you're going, you're jealous, blah, 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 and they have a little exchange of words, and Cheyenne was just like, I'm not having it, and pretty much threw him against the wall.
Just puts him up there.
Nobody says, stand down, bitch. I was like, wow, that was a little rare. But it was a good display of Henry Jackson's power. So
that's kind of their go-to move, is to fling someone against the wall.
Yeah, yes.
You go back to the prison where they
and oddly enough, I was waiting for him to pee on himself because I noticed his feet turned in, and I thought, is it gonna happen? like Chancellor Ariel mentioned at the jail with Langdon when he picked him out. He goes, he might urinate a little bit, but so I was waiting for that to happen. But it didn't happen.
We didn't need that.
No, but he was up there for quite some time, so he must have had some time to contemplate. So I thought that was very interesting, and then he takes off and he shows up at a gas station.
Okay, so where are the Warlocks stationed? Where are they?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because that seemingly was going to be a long drive to New Orleans.
Yes, and you know what?
Where are we? We can't pay for a flight? What's happening?
I don't understand. Or maybe he was on his way to the airport.
Maybe.
Because later on when Billy Porter does go with Madison, he does mention the aisle seat. He takes the aisle seat.
Right.
So it has to be far. To me, it looked like it was somewhere in Montana, somewhere in the Northwest.
I was just like, are we about to drive cross country? Like, we need to be more efficient here if we're so concerned about...
I'm gonna say Northwest, where airports are so far that you need a gas up to get there. So I'm going with that.
Well, he didn't have the most fuel-efficient car either, so that was an issue.
Well, let's see, Warlocks should fly by broom like witches.
Yeah.
But, so he's filling up his tank, and guess who shows up?
What a breath of fresh air she is.
She always brightens up the screen no matter what character she is. But I've noticed her hair more and more, with being so dark. She's starting to remind me of what's her name? what's the name of that chick from Orange Is the New Black, the lesbian? Sorry, it's another lesbian reference. But, Bo, I think her name is Bo.
And this, I don't know.
But that's what she reminds me of, the really tough machismo lesbian that has a, really funny personality that, likes to insult people to make them to get in their pants. I don't know. It's just lesbian tricks.
Oh, God.
Anyways, before I get some hate mail, let's continue.
All to him. All to him.
So she plays like, oh, can you help me with my cast?
Which was so good as a viewer because you knew there was nothing innocent about her showing up there. Because she played it off so well.
And it's so funny because she did it so well. She took his Achilles out and then went for the throat. And supposedly he's a powerful warlock, but I guess not because he was caught off his guard and
right.
And she took him down effortlessly and lit a match on the hand.
Just to make sure.
Yes.
Just to make
destroy
sure
the evidence.
Done.
that was just it was like you held your breath for the entire what 25, 30, 45 seconds of that scene. It seemed like it went forever, but it went down pretty quick.
And it's like we talked about, off screen that we we really got the whole vibe of Misery because Annie Wilkes is like this seemingly like just down home sweet homemaker,
Until you piss her off, you take your knees out. Yeah,
there she is.
Oh my God, hobbling is what she called it.
Yeah.
And she knocked the guy's feet.
In the book, she just straight off cut off his leg and then cauterized it with a torch. But
she's efficient.
Yeah, get the job done however you can.
She sure did. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was brilliant. As someone who loves Stephen King and Misery and all that, loved that scene.
Yeah. So she shows up back to Outpost 3 where Langdon comes out to greet her, and now I think it makes sense her weird behavior outside of the jail. Won't you agree?
Yes.
It was apparently it was a plan all along,
Mm-hmm.
and that was Langdon's mission. He did have full control of his powers, which we've questioned all along. He intended to get arrested to draw the attention of the warlocks to come and get him and infiltrate the warlocks' coven. So I thought it was very well done, and it was pretty funny that Ariel comes out from the bush. She's like, "Hey, I'm here. I knew it all along." And she said, "Don't tell him about your father." That's great.
Yeah, Ariel definitely reveled in being part of that big reveal.
Oh my gosh, he was like living his best life. Like, yeah, it worked. We're gonna rock those bitches. Little does he know, he's gonna be one of the first to go. Probably. I have a feeling he's gonna be one of the first to go with those warlocks. He's gonna.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. I thought that was a very well done, very well played out, but it answered a lot of questions we were in the fog about.
For sure.
Whether his powers were really not fully developed.
Mm-hmm.
He was well aware. He was definitely, like you said, very calculating.
Right, and that's what I'm enjoying a lot about this season is questions are being raised, and then 1 to 2 episodes later, a lot of them are being answered. And I think that's really all you can ask for in a show like this, is it's going to make you think, and that's one of the most fun things about it, is just to kind of like go crazy with the theories.
Absolutely.
And then you actually get answers.
You get drawn in.
Yeah.
You get drawn in. So that was pretty good. So now we go back to the Seven Wonders test, which I love. They go back to the original Coven's silent film with the piano playing and the cheesy cinematography.
Yeah.
And I thought it was pretty funny how they used a mouse again, almost like a reappearance of the mouse from the first time around.
Just the witches just like rolling their eyes and like, of course he passed that one up.
Yes.
So good.
So easy. We've done that too. That's what I was getting from Madison. Like, ugh, we've done that too.
Like we've
whatever.
all been there. Come on.
But at the very end, when it came to the very last, what was it called? Dissension or Dissension, where he has to go to hell and come back. Cordelia throws in a little twist. She goes, I got a little extra for you.
Yeah.
And this is where she asked and made the request to bring back Misty Day, which Chancellor Ariel had another tantrum about it.
He's very quick to snap. Very short fuse on that one.
He does. He must, maybe Myrtle's not so off after all.
Yeah, I think she's got him clocked a little bit.
I think so too. He's really hot thirsty. And I thought it was great. This was a good display of basically he calls Cordelia out, saying that this is unnecessary. You're just weak like your mother, and I think that sent her over the edge, and she kept her cool.
Oh, she did.
But she made him fall back in line. I says, look, with the snap of my finger, I can pretty much, did she say rip out your trachea, or I can't remember. But
I think she went for crush the larynx, but
that's,
either way.
Either
way.
And, for Cordelia, I thought that was pretty good, because one thing I did like about Fiona, she was a little bit more dramatic about displaying her muscle.
For sure.
And, but he
For
shut
sure.
up. He shut up. I mean, I don't know if I would have displayed that much of a cool comic like that. Probably would have flung him in the fire.
No, it was
ago.
great, because if you just looked at her, she was so composed. But if you
Yeah.
just listened to her words, you were like,
This
whoa.
is a real threat. Yeah.
She means business
Yeah,
here.
she's reminding him that she's the head bitch in charge.
Yep.
So I thought that was a very good scene. So he does go and accepts the task, and without flinching, and he goes down and descends. And what cracks me up is another Hogwarts or Harry Potter reference. He looks like he's in the Ministry of Magic. All these this black shiny hall and black doors. It's like the Ministry of Magic. You're gonna find these little
Right.
These,
I know. At first, I was like, he didn't even go to the right place. What's he doing?
He's at the clinic.
He's off to a rough start here.
He got a job at Siemens. So yeah, he goes into one and opens one of the doors, and then we see, just like you mentioned, Misty Day. She's in her private hell, and that is a really bad one.
Yeah.
Being reliving her science class was very E.T.
Yeah.
Like she's
Obviously, the last thing she wants to do is actually kill a living thing. And so that's
which is what her gift is to bring him back to life.
Yeah.
And
So that is a very fitting personal hell. I must ask, what would your personal hell be?
I can't talk about that here on this channel.
Well, mine would be the day that Big Brother gets canceled. So, yeah. Might be closer than
I think mine would be stuck into a internal mass, repeating over and over again, because I had enough of that as a kid. Many years as an altar boy, go to Catholic school, genuflecting. Oh my gosh.
Of course you said
I'm
that.
bored out of my mind. So that would probably be my personal hell. But here's the other thing. So he kills the professor that's provoked the provocateur in her hell, and
not just kills.
It just disemboweled him like ruthlessly. Yeah. And it was almost like a display of his power, because that person was, or demon or entity, was not really there was no, I didn't see any value in killing him.
No, that was just some random person in her personal hell that he meant nothing to Langdon, so why go to those extremes?
And Misty Day asked, "Are you here to save me?" And he was like, "No, I'm here to prove a point."
Yeah.
And then
She's like, "Well, if the point's saving me, then here we go. I'm all for it."
Yeah. Then the next, this is the weirdest thing that I still have a lot of questions. What the hell happened? These kids that were watching the entire time, their heads cock back and their eyes go white, and they seems like this noises are coming out like they're speaking a language, and I don't know what's happening. Are they like short-circuiting, or are they communicating in demonic language with Langdon? Are they talking about a negotiation?
Right.
What was that? That was so odd.
You know, you see that a lot in these movies, about exorcisms and possessions and that kind of thing. So, I mean, I've seen that a lot, but in that setting, it was just, it was kind of weird, and it made you wonder, is that him communicating with someone? Is that someone communicating with him? Very interesting. Very interesting scene for a lot of different reasons.
And, it just makes me wonder, it goes back to Asylum, because there hasn't really been any Asylum crossovers, but remember, there was that demon that took over Lily Rabb's character, the nun, in, I brought that up before, but it's just that plateau, that plane exists, so it makes you wonder, is there an opportunity for that particular demon to come back and show its face for revenge? Who knows? I don't know. There's so many weird crossovers, but yeah, the kids rolling the head back with their eyes, I thought that was very odd. But the thing is, we get Misty Day back, and that was very interesting how she just materializes out of the floor, like from her ashes.
Right. Yeah.
And I thought that was,
she's been here the whole time.
Yeah. No, but I thought it was like returning to your body. It's very
Yeah,
biblical.
exactly.
It's very biblical, like the way you
Exactly.
return to your body, very end of days, hence apocalypse, or
Right.
Armageddon. So I thought that was very interesting. But yes, it's like Misty Day's back, and we get another wonderful performance from the White Witch herself, Stevie Nicks.
So do we think this is kind of what Misty needs to kind of have her spirit kind of
Rejuvenated?
a little bit? Yeah, it's like, I don't know if, I mean, Stevie Nicks is the White Witch, so I don't know if it serves a purpose for everyone, but if it kind of like puts something back into every single witch, but I definitely think for Misty, it seems to be whenever she needs something to kind of help, because she said, you know, I don't have any fight left in me. I'm done with
Yes,
this.
you're so right. You're
You know,
absolutely
I don't
right.
I don't know why you should have left. She actually said you should have left me where I was. In her own personal hell. She said you should have left me. So I think she was really in a bad spot. And so for the White Witch to come, I think that was
Kind of to rejuvenate her.
yeah, that was definitely a bit of a personal performance there for her.
Yeah, I totally saw it that way, because if it wasn't scripted like that, it didn't matter, because it was wonderful to have Stevie Nicks there. But
Right.
I definitely sensed, yes, that there was that adoration, and there was that, yes, like that warmth that was being projected at her from Stevie. And oh my God, if Stevie showed up at my party, I'd be like, oh my God, Stevie. But I can't go down that road. There's another story about Stevie Nicks, that rumor. I'll talk to you about that rumor offline. There's a rumor now.
Please do.
Yeah. Anyways, so it's very 70s Studio 54. But
Yeah, not that you need a real reason to bring her onto the episode, but that was kind of how I read that whole scene.
Absolutely. Before Stevie Nicks arrived, though, Cordelia did have another nosebleed.
Right.
And
okay, so that brings me to my question. Do you think Cordelia is inflicting these things on herself?
I'm gonna say yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that Cordelia is a good poker player.
Yeah.
I think she is a smart cooking, is not as weak as everyone thinks she is, and that's part of Sarah Paulson's characters that she plays in other series, is that you think that she's such a wuss, and all of a sudden she turns out to be the badass.
Right. You
And
can never take her at face value. Never.
And I thought that's what I admire about the characters that she plays. So I think that was really cool. She announces to them that he was to be the next Supreme.
Right.
I was going to call them the jocks. They're not jocks.
They are
the warlocks.
far from that.
The wannabe jocks. The warlocks, the Glee Club. They're excited. They're all Hercules, celebrate. They probably thought Stevie Nicks was there for them.
Probably.
And then Cordelia pulls Madison into another room and says, "Hey, look, I got a mission for you." And Madison, in true fashion, was like, "Why would I do that for you? You know, I didn't make an arrangement with him." And what did she say to her? I think she clocked her and says, "I think you're only interested in yourself."
Right. Yeah. She was like, "He brought me back, so if I'm answering to anyone, it's him." Yeah.
And Cordelia's like, but she called her like bullshit, basically. If anything, you're your own first agenda. It's always about you. And she was like, and she kind of was like, yeah, you're right. What's the address?
Exactly.
And then Billy Porter shows up.
Oh,
you know?
He just pops to that door like.
What's his name? Behold Chablis. That's a terrible name. I'm sorry. There's just a lot of people out there like, oh my God, it's fabulous, and they're pronouncing it wrong. They're saying Chablis. I'm like, no, Chablis, like the cheap wine. It's Behold Chablis, like the drag queen lady Chablis. Just FYI, you guys. It's a cheap wine. Boy, I'll have the Chablis.
Well, cheap wine, that could be a little bit fitting for this character. So.
Yeah, he just pops in and like, I heard you, I know what's going on, blah, 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 blah. And what happened? She said, well, basically, she kind of said, you know, go ahead and tell him. I can't remember. I'm terrible. I think she pretty much told him something that made him change his mind. Like, no,
right.
I'm a little concerned too. So it makes me wonder if he was sent by Langdon.
Right.
To kind of keep dibs on them? Or...
Yeah, I feel like this whole thing is kind of unfolding as just a little bit of a chess match between Langdon and Cordelia.
Yeah.
And so each time the other thinks, you know, oh, I'm one step ahead. No, the other one's actually 3 steps ahead.
And that's what you have to do, anticipate your enemy's moves, and they're keeping them, and Cordelia was smart to keep him close. So observe his powers, and that was the real reason when she came to and because she did faint when Misty Day came back, right? And then she'd been fainting a lot lately. But when she came to, I remember she told Myrtle, like, you know, I wasn't. He's not going to be the next Supreme. I just wanted to see. I wanted to measure his powers, which is very.
So she used his extreme powers to bring all of her witches back in order for them to fight. Which
well played. Very
brilliant.
Very the art of war. Very the art of war. Very like a samurai at a girl.
So when she said that, that made me think, she's inflicting these injuries on herself. To be like, oh yeah, here's this guy, here's the alpha, he's finally showing up. But, she's letting him have a little bit of a false sense of security.
I like that theory, and I'm gonna add on to that. I mean, I'm gonna agree with you on that. I totally support that one.
I'm very rarely right, so this would be kind of exciting.
Now he says me. Okay, forget that theory. Let's go back to Mallory and her Coachella moment.
Mallory's at Coachella. There's a theory.
So, do you think that she might be the Supreme? The Supreme Rising?
So that was the other thing that kind of went through my mind as I was trying to go back to all the times that Cordelia was fainting or whatever was happening, and I was like, is Mallory always close by? Is Mallory the one that's kind of sucking all the life out of her? And I think she was there every time except
the very first one
when she fainted outside when Langdon brings back Madison and Queenie.
I don't think Mallory was at the outpost for the Stevie Nicks when Misty though.
Yeah, so
and she fainted for that one too. Like, oh, Misty, you're back.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. And it might go on a theory that she might be bluffing too.
Yeah.
So.
I just think that would be so smart of her, and I mean, I think she would have the powers to do that as the current Supreme. She could pretty much do whatever she wanted. So
I've mentioned this to Nick before. I didn't put it out there, but is Mallory an angel? Is she the light force, the omega to the alpha that an antichrist that Langton is? Is she an angel, or is she his twin baby that died at birth? There's a lot of questions out there.
That would be interesting.
Yes, because I kind of sense that she's the only one that has gotten him off guard, that he has overlooked, has never noticed, and pretty much knocked him on his ass, and in a very Kylo Ren Rey fashion.
For sure.
There's definitely a force involved, and they both harness it, and it's a light and a dark. So that's where I'm gonna stick with. And then the other thing is, how does this co-op happen? That's going to be coming in the next episodes. It's going to be pretty much what's the next steps is what happens at Murder House. They're going to find out about Langdon's existence. We're going to get to see Constance.
Yes.
And that episode's going to be directed by Sarah Paulson, which is exciting. So Rubberman's going to be there. All the ghosts, possibly all the cast, are going to come out of the woodworks. Literally.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be a loaded cast the rest of the way.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. So we have that. Looks like we're going to get more backstory. I have a feeling we're going to get a lot of backstory before we get right back to in real time at the outpost.
Right, because we've kind of been, in real time, we've kind of been stuck. We've been paused there for a while.
And speaking of pause, where the hell is Billy? Mr. Mad Max, I mean, after he stabbed Mallory in the head, did he disappear in the shadows? Did he take off and leave the outpost? Is he hiding and watching everything unfold?
Right.
Because he does seem to have that power of stealth, the way he snuck in on the horse carriage, and so we haven't seen the last of Billy.
No.
And then my other big question is, where does Adina Porter's character?
Yes.
And how does she tie in with this story?
Conveniently left out of that entire episode.
And how does Langdon know her from when and where?
Right.
So that's the big one for me. Is I think there's going to be more to her character that's going to come up and unfold. So there's a lot of stuff still yet to happen. I'm excited about.
For sure. Yeah, I think all those things, and then definitely the little introduction of the zombies. Are we going to get more of that? I think is the other big question that I had after this episode.
It might be the Adina Porter's connection too. Who knows? Because of her voodoo background.
Right.
She was called out by
Right.
Madison, your voodoo, backwards voodoo. She kind of just, it's like they love like just these backhanded comments to each other. It's fabulous.
Yeah, she's great at this. But yeah, we're heading into the second half of the season. I'm excited. Like I said, we've had a lot of questions and a lot of questions that have been answered, which sometimes I think you don't necessarily get that in with American Horror Story, and that can kind of build up some frustration. But I think the pacing has been great, and I'm definitely looking forward to where we go from here.
I am too. Could Cordelia be the founder of the co-op? She got $1 zillion from Coco's dad.
I like that. I like that.
Something to think about, you guys. Let's wait. We'll revisit that topic and we'll see what happens in this next episode.
For sure.
Thanks for watching us, you guys. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.
See ya.
Peace. That was a good one. I like that.